With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Yesterday was game day. Andor Season 2 debuted. Now, you guys know, I believe, nay, I hold, that Andor is the single greatest Star Wars thing ever produced other than the original trilogy. The original trilogy is in its own category. But other than that, nothing that anybody's ever put out Star Wars-wise is as good as Andor Season 1. That's how I feel about it. So you guys know I've been hyper excited about Season 2. Now, we're going to talk about, I'm just going to call it Chapter 1. Since instead of calling it Episodes 1, 2, and 3, I'm just going to call it
BBY4.
Or BBY4. That's actually a good one. We're going to talk about this. Now, I am going to let you know we are going to go a little bit into spoilers. We're not going to get into specific deep plot points, but maybe we'll reference a couple of events that happen, sort of thing. So if you have not watched Chapter 1 or BBY4 of Andor Season 2, you can probably still watch it. But if you don't want to know anything, then maybe check right here. Jonathan's just put up this spoilers warning, right? As long as this spoilers warning is up, mute your phone, tablet, laptop, computer, or television. And then once the spoiler warnings comes down, then you can turn the volume back on. Fair enough? All right, let's get into it here. So it was with great anticipation that I sat down by myself last night because Ann and our friends wanted to go watch the Laker game. But
how dare they?
Even though I could have waited to watch it after I got home, I'm like, nope, I'm watching Andor right now. Bye, baby. Shut that door. Real world be gone. And I locked in. And admittedly, there is no bigger pro Andor person than me. And I got to say, Chapter 1 underwhelmed me a little bit.
Ooh.
Now, let me be specific. I really liked Episode 1. I really liked it. I loved Episode 3. But man, Episode 2, a little bit was a swing and a miss. It wasn't terrible, but it was a swing and a miss. Again, without going into deep narrative detail, you know, Andor gets sidetracked on this planet with a bunch of wannabe rebels. And the whole, by the time that whole thing ended, I realized this was all a complete waste of time. This literally had no relevance to anything. I don't know. Maybe we come across some of these characters again in year 2, 3, or 4. Maybe I'll revisit it at that point. But I really thought Episode 2 was really slow. For me, it killed any momentum that Episode 1 had kind of set up. And by the way, there's a little bit of a Thrawn kind of, I'm not going to say reference, but there's a Thrawn implication.
Yeah, it's one of those, if you know, you know.
Yeah, you'd have to know, but so that's there. And then again, Episode 3 though, oh my God, I loved Episode 3.
Yeah.
It was so, I said to Rob, I said it was so Godfather. It was so Godfather. And one of the things I said to Rob too, I said, listen, if you had told me in advance that in this Star Wars show, we're going to have a big, what is it called? EDM? Or what's the festival called?
Well, EDM, like, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, but what's the big EDM festival?
There's like Electric Daisy.
But the one that they have out by Vegas.
Well, that's that one. That's the Electric Daisy.
Is that the Electric Daisy thing? Okay, whatever. If you had told me there's going to be this big EDM dance sequence, I would have said, oh my God, this is going to be shit.
And that piece of music was dope.
It's so good.
But I would have said
so
in
good.
advance that this is going to be awful. It was awesome.
Yeah,
and might have been
I just wanted to know where my ecstasy was, so I wrote it.
And listen, it might have been the best character moment with no dialogue. It might have been the best character moment Mon Mothma's ever had. As she's kind of dancing, she's trying to dance the guilt out of her system, right? And her performance in that, unbelievable.
I want somebody to do a compilation every time she's smiling and talking to somebody, and then she turns her head and frowns.
And the face changes.
It's so good. So good.
I thought that thing, the final wrapping up on the wheat planet, that wrapped up well. Because the whole wheat planet thing in Episode 2 was slow to me. And again, I'm going to throw this out there. I did not have attempted sexual assault on my Star Wars bingo card.
Yeah.
And they went there, and it was powerful. And look, overall, I have to admit I was a little underwhelmed overall compared to where my hopes were for the show. Now, I get it. All the people I talked to who have seen the entire series already has warned me in advance that the first chapter is a bit of a building up, then it really kind of takes off. So I understood that, but still my expectations were better. I was kind of hoping that all 3 episodes would be as good as episode 3, and they weren't. Again, episode 1 was good. Episode 2 let me down. Episode 3, dynamite. So overall, I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to the next thing, but I, as somebody who was looking forward to it more than anybody else on this planet, was a little bit underwhelmed simply because of episode 2. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to see Andor, Chapter 1, BBY4.
Yes.
For anybody who doesn't know about before the Battle of Yavin. So, Chris, what was your take on the Chapter 1 of this?
Oh, man, I'm finally really digging Cassian Andor. Look at him having agency. Look at him leading. Look at him making choices and not only being entirely reactive. Ooh, who'd have thought? Now, similar issue to you, though, episode 2 really stalled all of that. I was so frustrated watching that. I was so annoyed with everybody on that one planet.
They needed a weird reason to make him late.
Yeah.
It's like,
it was obnoxious, which I understood is what they were going for, of this communication issue and everything, of if we all could just talk, maybe. But I found that all very, very frustrating. And then once we got on to episode 3, I was absolutely back to loving all of this. I enjoyed seeing Cyril and Deidre. That really great moment with Mom.
Can I say, Cyril's mom has the best voice in television.
Oh, she's incredible.
I could listen to her just talk all day. I love her voice.
Well, and everything they did in that too. And again, not to get into major spoilers here, but just even like color theory in those moments of having them in the black and her in the orange and in their white apartment and everything. The way the everyone was eating was so intentional. It honestly reminded me of the Feast of Seven Fishes episode of The Bear. The way they were able to create tension between the 3 of them was so great and pithy and awesome. The stuff with Bix and everything too.
Oh, Bix was so good.
She's such an incredible actress, and I'm so happy that she has this role, because I feel like a lot of times we've seen her just being someone's girlfriend or some kind of love interest catalyst for things. I love, again, seeing somebody like her who has so much agency, and all the stuff in there too in episode 3 really did solidify this as grown-up Star Wars. These are the things, the atrocities that would happen in times of war. And it is really powerful that a Star Wars show is actually following how bloody and brutal and awful a rebellion could be for people. And it's just really powerful television. I'm so impressed with what they've done already.
And can I just say that one of those last shots as the Chancellor Valorum lookalike wannabe dude, Mon Mothma's turns out dick of a friend, as he's going to get in his car.
Great when it zips by and you see the girl, the pilot, and it's just
I like that. That to me was all that had all the Godfather vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
take the cannoli.
It was so and then cutting then to Mothma trying to dance her guilt out and
well, Tay's such a turd. Oh my gosh. But that was such a good line that we had then later of, I've known him since I was a child.
Yeah.
That's our curse to bear.
I love that actor, though, going back to Coupling, which was a BBC sitcom.
I loved Coupling.
Yeah.
And again, Luthen's the MVP of the show. Like from season 1 to this. I mean, he's still so great. Anyway, Rob, you checked it out. What did you think about chapter 1?
Well, I would echo all of your sentiments, but I have to say that scene in the very beginning when Cassian is talking to the woman, that's
the technical girl,
talking to the girl who's facilitated his ability to steal the ship, and what he says to her,
powerful.
And I'm like, wow, if this is how they're opening it up, and the fact, everyone talked about how Cassian was kind of the weakest character in the first season. They establish him right then and there in that conversation when he's looking at her, and I'm like you said, Chris, I'm like, this is Cassian Andor's show. This is what I wanted to see. And
it was
when
a
that girl
type of speech a bit.
Yeah, and that performance when a tear falls down, I was like, oh my God, they ain't playing around. And then that scene was kind of funny, but it was also like hardcore when the guy's building the cannon, and I loved it. I mean, and then the whole escape, and the walls are, it was like a Speed Racer episode, and when they're inside the volcano and the TIE fighters and everything's falling. I love the first episode. I thought it was great. I love what they were doing. The dread of the Imperials are coming to do an audit, and getting into the whole immigration thing, like, well, you don't have your papers, and some of you are illegal. It was not heavy-handed. It seemed very naturalistic. I love the impending sense of dread, and the guy they cast as a lead Imperial officer.
Oh, was such a big dick.
One of the things I always objected to about Return of the Jedi was I did not like the Imperial officers in the Tidarium shuttle at the beginning. I just didn't like them. They've cast the Imperial officers in this show extraordinarily well. I love them all. And they've picked, I mean, that guy was such a dick when he showed up. I'm like, I cannot wait for this to, like, I knew something bad was gonna happen, but he was gonna. But like you said, I get what they were doing in the second episode. It just was kind of lame.
Yeah.
Like when they started fighting amongst themselves, I'm like, I don't buy into this.
No.
And
It's
then
like suddenly he's just gonna blast, and you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
yeah, they're all starving in the jungle. Like there wasn't, like, why don't they go shoot animals or something? And there's got to be.
the only one thing I took from it was that it's like, this shows you that there are aspects of this early rebellion that are so ragtag and amateurish
Yes.
that they
100%.
would no way in no way could they defeat the Empire. And they
Well,
had
and
to,
when you look at Rebels,
I agree with you.
Part of the thing about the Rebels series, they talked about how there's all these seeds of rebellion, but it's part of the storyline in Rebels was like trying to bring it all into one big organized thing.
Yeah.
And so this felt very consistent with that. I just didn't like the way they
Yeah,
did it.
I agree with you. And I understand why it had to be there. They kind of had to address it and move on, which was fine. I just thought it was kind of.
you know what it would have been cool is, this is kind of going back to Band of Brothers, but there was the episode where they're in Carentan, and the character Bull, he gets left behind because he's wounded, and the Nazis are in that village, and he has to spend all night kind of hiding and slowly creeping out of the village and getting away, and then finally at the end he gets away and he gets back to the people looking for him.
Yeah.
I was hoping that it would have been like some Imperials were in the area. He had to, like, weasel his way out to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that.
But I have to say, everything with Mon Mothma was aces.
Oh,
the whole
total
thing in her
gold.
estate with the wedding, all of that. And like you said, that last shot was the dance, then it goes to black. And I'm like, this was epic. First of all, the production design and the costuming and all the different
And this guy.
and yeah, I haven't even talked about Krennic. But having Krennic come back when he gathers all
Don't give too many details.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
I won't
yeah,
say, but
We know he's in it because we've
it
obviously
was
know
it was
Catholics, but-
just, to me, it was like peak Star Wars, like you said, Godfather. I love the design work on all of that stuff. It was amazing, and she's amazing, and love that.
Yeah. This again, all the pieces are there for this to be the greatest thing ever. I wish overall with chapter 1 it could have had a strong, again, if they had just done something better with episode 2.
Yeah.
That's all. But 3, fantastic. Gives me a lot of hope for what's coming up. 'Cause everybody says it just builds up from here.
But it all led somewhere.
Yeah.
And the one thing is the intercutting of all the different locations and stuff made it so it wasn't interminable. They would cut away and
Right.
you'd be like,
And remember, when episode 4 now starts, we jump ahead 1 year.
Yeah, BBY3.
Remember, at the end of each 3 episodes, when we go into the next 3 episodes, it's a jump of 1 year.
Yeah.
So that was all wrapped up, and then we jump forward, which I think is going to be a really interesting way for them to do this. So we'll see how it works out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the BBY4 Chapter 1 of Andor Season 2? What did you think about those first 3 episodes? I mean, overall it was good to me. Again, that second episode just took a lot of it out of it for me, but episode 3 was fantastic. Whatever you guys thought, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.